How's it going, guys? Chad here with Green Light Shooting. Welcome to the basics of handguns video. Today we're going to be talking about semi-automatic handguns specifically. I kind of want to tailor this video towards beginners or people who are interested in firearms but kind of hesitant to get into them. I know I was in that boat once before I worked at Salvo Guns. I was afraid to go into gun ranges. I was afraid to go into even a gun store just because I wasn't sure what to expect and I didn't want to be the guy that did something wrong, So I'm here to hopefully set your mind at ease, give you some confidence, and teach you a little bit today. So let's get started. So this is a semi-automatic 9mm handgun. It's a Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm. So to start off with, to give you a few basic functions of the gun, we have a magazine right here. The magazine releases this button that drops the magazine out. We have the frame of the gun, or the lower receiver. We've got grip, trigger guard, rail, all that stuff. And then we've got the slide, and the slide will actually slide. So before we get too into the details of the firearm, I want to go over just a little bit of safety with you guys. And this will keep you out of a lot of trouble, and it will keep your mind at ease when you go into like a gun store or something like that. You'll be bounds above other people coming in, I promise you that. So there's 3 golden rules you have to remember. If you remember these 3 rules, you don't have to worry about anything else. If you break every other rule in the handbook, nothing truly bad can happen as long as you follow these 3 rules. Number 1. Every firearm is loaded. There is no such thing as an unloaded firearm. Because of that, we're going to go ahead and check this firearm right now. To do that, I'm going to push this button, drop out this magazine. As you can see, there's no bullets in it. And then I'm going to lock this slide back. You can see inside of it, you can see the chamber. This is an empty gun for all respects. However, once we let this down, this magazine goes in, this gun is still going to be treated as loaded. Which brings me to the next 2 rules. The next one is trigger finger control. So this is how you hold a firearm. When someone hands you a firearm, regardless of where you are, this is how you hold it. So your finger goes right along the slide, you got a good grip on the gun, but the main thing is this finger never touches this trigger until I'm truly ready to fire the gun. These guns have come an awful long way. Modern technology has made it so really, if this gun was loaded, I could drop it, I could kick it, I could run it over with a car, I can do whatever I want, and this gun will not fire unless that trigger is pulled. So if I keep my finger along the slide, this gun isn't going to fire. Simple as that. So, and then the next rule is muzzle control. So this is called your muzzle right here. Muzzle control means that you never want to point that muzzle anywhere that isn't safe. So you don't want to point it at other customers if you're in a store. You don't want to point it at the salesman that just handed it to you. If you're in a range, it should never be pointed anywhere except downrange. All right, so now that we kind of know the basics of safety, let's get into the functions of the firearm. So again, we have the grip, we have the trigger guard, all that stuff on kind of the lower receiver and the frame of the gun, the magazine. So let's talk about if we were shooting this at the range, how the functions would work. So I would push this button right here to drop this magazine out, load this magazine, and then put the magazine in the gun. If it was loaded, it would act just like this. Put it in the gun, and then the slide here, I'm going to pull back on the slide and let it forward. Now what that does is it would take a bullet from the magazine to the chamber and would now be ready to fire. So my muzzle's down range, my finger's off the trigger, I'm ready to fire, put my finger on the trigger, pull. Okay, now the boom from that explosion, if this was true loaded gun, it would slam this back. The shell from the bullet would actually pop out of this ejection port, and moving this forward would load a new bullet into the chamber. Okay, I wouldn't even need to touch this. As soon as I pulled this, that's going to happen faster than the eye can see. So that being said, I can pull this trigger as many times as the bullets I have in my magazine. So 17 times I'd be like boom, 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 boom. It's just going to keep racking. That's the term semi-automatic. It's almost automatic in terms of loading it and getting ready to go. The only thing that's manual is pulling this trigger. On your very last shot, boom, it's going to lock back just like this. That's how I know I'm empty. So when I'm empty, I can just drop this magazine out, place the firearm on the bench, facing downrange, and then I'd reload my magazine, start again, boom, pull back, and fire. Okay, so now that we know how it works in the range, what about when we're just going into a gun store and we want to see a gun and we're dealing with a unloaded gun? Okay, so we come into the gun store, we say, hey, I want to see this gun. The salesman will grab the gun, he'll check it, hand it over to you. Okay, so once you have the gun, again, probably the first and best thing you can do is double check that it's empty. So drop that magazine out. Because we know this is an empty magazine, we're going to pull back on this slide, and it's going to lock back. We can see there's no bullet in the chamber, so we're okay right now. So drop that down. Again, my finger is always off the trigger. Always, always, always. Now with that being said, I can, make sure my muzzle's pointing in a safe direction. I can view my sights. I can see how the gun feels, try the magazine release out, all that stuff. And then if you want to feel the trigger, make sure you ask your salesperson. Some stores mind, some stores don't. Some other stores don't mind. So our store, Salvo Guns, doesn't mind. So let's aim this out, and then safe direction. I know I'm in a safe direction. My finger goes on the trigger and pull through. Now I know how it feels. That's great. Finally, I want to talk to you about this slide, how to manipulate the slide. This is really difficult to understand at first. It took me a long time to figure this out, as with most beginners. Okay, so when I'm pulling this slide back and it's locking back, that's showing me it's empty. So that's something I need to do a lot if I'm dealing with, customers at a gun store or something like that. So to pull this slide back, there's a few different ways. One way, make sure you got a good grip on the gun, finger along the slide. I'm going to hold this parallel to the ground, away from me in a safe direction. You got some ridges on the back, right here and right here. I'm going to take my pointer finger and put them along there and my thumb on the top. And I'm going to push with my right hand and pull with my left hand, okay? So 2 directions, and that's going to lock it back. Perfect. Another way, I'm going to take right here on the palm of my hand and my fingers. So I'm going to go on those ridges and on those ridges. Yeah, I'm going to push forward and pull back with my hand. Push and pull. Now it's locked back. I can see in there that it's empty. So great. Now that we checked it and we know that it's empty, we want to let the slide down and try the other functions. So in order to let the slide down, there's a few ways to do this. And this is going to be, they're stiff. This is hard to get used to at first, like I said. So you have a slide lock right here, and so to disengage the slide lock and let the slide forward, I can reach my thumb around and put it on top, and I'm pushing down, not in, but down. These are really, really stiff, brand new, so if you can't get them, don't worry. Oi! See, so slams that forward. Another way to do it, if that's too stiff, I can take my hand, grip the back of the slide again. I'm gonna pull back, and that's just gonna loosen up that slide lock. So push that down, and that lets my slide forward easier. If both of those fail, just push this button right here, let out this magazine. Again, we're always gonna make sure this is empty, and then all I have to do is pull back on the slide and let go. And there we go. Then I can put this empty mag back in there, and I can try all the other functions of the gun. So that is kind of the basic overview of a semi-automatic handgun. If you want to learn more, check out the other videos on the site. If you're local, come into Salvo Guns, we'd be happy to help you out, or just go to your local gun store, and as long as you're following those 3 rules, I'm sure they would be happy to help you out as well. Until next time, please stay tuned for more. Check out the other videos, like I said. Monday, I release a new video every Monday at the minimum. Hopefully more if I've got more to say. It just depends on the week. So again, if you like the idea, if you like the project, please like it, support it, subscribe, share, and then we'll get more and more videos out there for you guys to see. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Green Light Shooting.